Hello everyone and welcome to the 24th Genesis Models live session. Yes, play cameraman in a little second. Okay, 24th Genesis Models live session. It is where we actually start a brand spanking new build because we did finish our last build, the MiG 15 last session. We are, as announced, we are going to be building this beauty here, the A-4M Sky Hawk. It is by Hobby Boss and it's 1/48 scale. I've been quite excited to work on this. Tonight we're going to be going into quite a bit of all sorts of sort of dinky stuff, right? Cockpit has a little one or two things lacking. We want to sort of make our own, like seat belts, that kind of stuff, to sort of enhance a little bit more, and even going into some sort of advanced stuff tonight also. So hopefully you're gonna like the bit of scratch building we're going to be doing. So let's just jump right in, and as always, don't be afraid to go off and make comments in the comment section. Anything from questions, answers, whatever you want, shout outs, anything at all, just get your comments in. So as you can see, I've already started this build just to speed up tonight a little bit. I'm gonna have to probably bring you in nice and close tonight also, because we're going to be doing cockpits just here. So let's just get this ready. So say I've just gone off and did a bit of simple building and gluing of our cockpit section here. Now the problem is what we have, I mean the cockpit's nice. I mean we do have a nice instrument display panel just there, and the tub's not too bad, but really the ejector seat I do feel is quite lacking. It is the center point excuse me, of our cockpit, and what we've got is there's no seat belts, there's no ejection handles, even the actual cushions here, sorry, just off camera, even the cushions here are just flat and just plain as hell. So what I want to do is kind of do some scratch building tonight to jazz this up. So first off, what I want to do is our actual cushions here, as I say, they're all flat and very sort of just bland and straight, and straight as anything. So what we're going to do, getting out some Tamiya extra thin cement. Right, now this is maybe something you don't really want to tackle as a bit of a newbie, but what we can do is if we just sort of paint this on and paint it on quite thick, right? I've just got my first little sort of coat on there, and what this is going to do, this, well, Tamiya thin cement, the way it glues together, as you probably already know, is you bring two pieces of plastic together, the glue melts the two plastics together, and they come, basically they end up becoming one. So what we're going to do is we're going to melt it, and then we're going to manipulate the actual plastic, right? So also remember, get those comments in, and thanks for you guys. Bruce, nice to see you online as well. So let's just start and get in another little blob in here, maybe a bit more of a blob than that, right? And then we want to start manipulating it. So there's all sorts of tools we can use. I mean, I've got this pin in a vise, and what we can do is sort of just like press down on it, and what we want to do is make those little sort of creases, right? And we might need a little bit more glue on there, because what you might find is it does evaporate quite quickly. It does need to eat in. We can use a cocktail stick as well if you want to. Right, and I'm just sort of making these creases, and this plastic isn't getting as wet as getting as mushy as I'd like, but you do sort of start to feel these creases come in. Right, if you press down, you make like a little indent, and we just want to be sort of careful. I mean, you might be able to see that a little bit better. We're making these little sort of indents into this. There we go. It feels like it's softening up now. Right, coming in from all the different angles. You know, maybe do some little ones, big ones. Just get some little creases in there. Right, now at first this is going to look a little sort of pants. Right, maybe a little bit too OTT. You might have to just keep rehydrating it as you go along. But yeah, I'm just sort of getting a couple of creases, getting in the different angles, big ones, small ones. Maybe try not to go too over the top. Right, and then we've also got the bottom bit to do as well, but I think I'll do that off camera. Now once you've sort of got that, that might seem a little bit too much, and it's sort of maybe raise the areas a bit, but what I like to do is sort of come in, paint a load more on top, and sort of maybe try and blend them in, feather them in, rubbing them down with a brush, and you sort of feather them in, and it starts to sort of take shape. I don't know if you can see that. There is another stage to this, but what we've got to do is actually we want to sort of let that dry now a bit. I mean, I might throw in some more actually now I'm looking at it. Some more little creases. So I'm not too happy with that. There we go. One or two more little creases. Maybe try and go down the bottom just a little bit. I mean, you could also maybe, if you really wanted to, could maybe come in with a blade and make some really sort of fine, sharp ones. There's a little bit of a process. I mean, this admittedly isn't going to look as good as, say, you know, the manufacturer's actually molding in some nice detail, but I do find it just kind of just gives it enough to sort of take the edge off this sort of very bland flatness. So that I'm now sort of gonna let that dry, and if we sand it down later it sort of neatens it up a bit. So next thing is seat belts. We've got no seat belts, so we want to make some of our own. Right, so we want to try and get it in scale as well. We can start off getting some Tamiya masking tape out. Really good for making your own sort of seat belts. Is quite easy to do. We could actually probably do it on here. And this is potentially a good time to also maybe change our blade. We're going to be getting quite sort of, we need to be able to cut really nice, really sharp, really sort of fine, so it really doesn't hurt to pull out a new blade. All right, really does help actually to get out a nice new blade. I'm just going to quickly do that. Just going to pop this off. I always like to use a pair of sort of pliers or something just to pop these off, because it just saves you kind of trying to hold it with your fingers and chop your fingers up and stuff. Right, and then we'll slide on a new one using the pliers as well. And there we go, all nice and safe, no cut fingers. Just put that back, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just basically pull this back there. Basically just going to very carefully cut a straight line all the way along with our nice new blade. straighter the better, just like so. And then we could probably peel this up, bit of tweezers maybe. Right, and there we go. We got our nice, basically the starting of our seat belt. We want to do some buckles also. Now for this, I do find I have used lead in the past, but like these fine bits of wire, let's bring you in for this as well. These fine bits of wire, really nice. I did get these from Germany, but if you kind of search around, it's something like a 0.3 mil. There's all sorts of different sizes. It's a kind of a general thing, not just hobbying and stuff. So just kind of maybe just Google 0.3 mil copper wire, and we're just going to get a bit of this out. Right, like so. Give it a cut. Where's my cutters? Right, and we're going to make some stuff with this. We can make all sorts of cool stuff with this kind of wire. I do find lead can nicely be cut and stuff, so this might be a little bit more tricky, but what we want to do is wrap this around something, you know, just try and find something that is, you know, going to be a good template to wrap this around. Whoops. Right, maybe sort of like push it together as you're sort of wrapping around. Make sure it's nice and tight. Right, there we go. You want to wrap this around so you're going to end up with enough to do a load of seat belts with. I'm pushing it as I'm going around, and hopefully I'm going to be able to cut this fairly nice. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to come in with our blade. Right, and we're now going to just put this right down the middle, and as I say, hopefully it's going to cut nice, which it's not quite doing that. So you may want to use lead for this, but I'm going to persevere. Trying not to cut myself at the same time. Come on. Let's cut through. Maybe get something a little bit maybe better. Let's try maybe a micro saw, see if that's going to cut through it a bit better. On you on camera. There we go. You want to be careful not to lose your shape, but I think we've cut through that now. I think it looks like we have. I think maybe not. Just bear with me. It's a task you want to be very sort of careful with. But as I say, you can use, you can get away with using the lead stuff as well. But I want to try and get this cut. I've got to be careful. Because we want to keep that shape. Okay, we got one off, one cut. You want to just get it cut down. You want to get it in the same place every time. Okay, I'm through. Okay, so now I'm through. We're going to end up with all these little rings. Let's just make sure you're on camera. You can just see that now. And so what we're basically left with is, once you've cut that off, because you've like made all these little winded it around, you end up with loads of these little buckle looking things. And again, this is a very fiddly task, but let's get it on camera. Hopefully you can see there we've got this little sort of copper thing going on. So now we've got that, and we've got our basically our seat belt. Right, let's just cut off, you know, a nice sort of amount. Right, better to cut off more than not enough. Right. And then what we want to do is maybe get out another set of tweezers, because it's very fiddly. Let's get out some more tweezers. Let's get one of these buckles just here. Right, and what we want to do is thread this on here very, very carefully. Maybe come under like so. Again, you got to bear with me. I know we're live, but it really isn't a task that's just instantly happens. Are you still on camera yet? Right, just trying to thread that through. It's almost through. There we go. Right, we can push this buckle along. I want to just get it so the part that's cut is not showing. Right, because what we're going to do now is actually fold over. I don't know if you're on camera, I'm sorry if I'm not. I'm trying to just fold this over now, so we lock that buckle in. Right, and basically there you have it. That's a nice bit of scratch built seat belt just there. I mean, there is a few other things we could do. We could come in with a rivet maker and make rivets very delicately, you know, maybe down both sides of this seat belt, which will, when we put a wash on, will add that bit more detail. Right, so I mean, you could. I mean, I'm sorry if this is really hard to see on camera. Hopefully I'm explaining it well enough. But as I say, getting out a rivet maker. This is by RB Productions, and you could just run along one side, and it just pokes little holes in there, and then maybe run along the other side, poking in holes. You can't see them right now, but when you put a wash on there, it should go into those little holes, and it kind of looks a little bit like stitching, right? And then when we've sort of finished our seat just here, we basically, I mean, it's still got its tackiness to it, and we can stick it just on there like so. And obviously, you know, we put about 4 of these in there, and that's going to tidy that up rather nice. But I've still got some bits I want to finish on here, so I want to get out a little sanding stick, something like a skinny stick, because it's going to be a little bit hard to sand. Just check any questions here. Sorry if I'm come across whispering. I didn't realise. I was probably because I was being so delicate with it all. But here we go. And what you want to do with our ejector seat here is we've got a bit of a ripply effect, sort of like a creases going on. And if we just sort of sand it up a little bit, it does tidy up our ejector seat cushions nicely, and then we're sort of left with these little sort of creases in the back. Once you've got some spray paint on there, it just adds that bit more to the flavor, and it just saves us having this very sort of, because I've got to do the same down here, saves us having this very plain bare bit of sort of cushion going on. So then quickly come back to our harnesses here, and if we just sort of try and, hopefully we've got enough tackiness to this, go down, stay, I'm sticking more to my tweezers, right, push that down in there. We'll cut the excess off in a bit, maybe sort of try and crease a little bit here and there, maybe sort of play with it, don't make it look so straight, and then come in with a blade, can cut off the excess just here, pull that away, come on, there we go. There we go, our first sort of quick sort of scratch build there going on. I know it's not as good as, say, photo etch or something, but for something that you can sort of quickly make yourself, it's not too bad indeed. Next off is we have the ejection sort of pull cords on here. Again, you know, it's lacking in detail. There's supposed to be one on the top there, and then there was supposed to be one just here as well. So this is where, again, you've got to find something in your toolbox that helps find the right shape. So I'm looking at a cocktail stick here, and I'm kind of thinking, you know what, this cocktail stick will probably be a good size. And actually, while I'm at it, I mean, those copper the copper wire we used there, you know, they're stronger, so it's a bit harder to cut off, but you know, they hold their shape better. But there is another product just in my drawer, which, as I was mentioning earlier, you've also got, you can buy like a lead version. Again, this is by Plus Models. It's lead wiring. Here again, we've got like a 3mm just here, right, which is, you know, the same size, but you'll see why it's kind of like the lead wiring sounds kind of cool, but then they are so easily manipulated. So as you're building this, you can knock it so easily, and then it loses its shape again. But I'll show you both products, right? So we can sort of, this time, because we're only after one circle, we can sort of just wrap around this shape and then twist it, right, just like so. Twist it, and then we should have a nice sort of circular shape there, and then we could probably come in with some cutters, just cut it this end, right, and then we've got sort of like a bigger circle. I want to be careful picking this up, because as I say, because it's lead, I can so easily knock this, change the shape of it, focus, and there we go, nice sort of shape there. And then all we got to do is just super glue that into there. All right, so let's get out some super glue. For this, I'm just going to be using cheap old super glue, and then I want sort of like a scrap bit of a lid. I've normally got one about somewhere, but I don't seem to have one at the moment. So, oh, here we go. Just got a bit of plastic just here. Right, this is just to kind of pour it out, right? Because this is like fine stuff we're doing here, and we don't want to be just using the tube itself and, you know, pouring that on and whatnot. This is where you can use your super glue applicator. This is also by RB Productions. Just give them a little Google. In fact, actually, what I'm going to do, I think I'll find it easier if I just pick this up, right, and then if I just dip the two ends into the super glue, like so, and then we quickly bring it into where it's supposed to be, and there we go. Hopefully, yeah, there you go, you can just see that. I will get the super glue applicator out now because there isn't that much super glue holding that in when I saw it condense. So I'm just using the super glue applicator just to get a little bit more super glue in there so it holds down better. And there we go, we've got ourselves now a nice little ejection pull cord thingy, whatever you call them, just there. Then we also have the top one. So again, you know, look through your tools. Paintbrushes are also good because they've normally got like it's not like a singular width around, you know, it kind of goes into a point, so you can sort of get a sort of variable size. So let's try doing it with this one. I'll do with copper because it's right at the top. That's going to be one that probably gets knocked, and lead's probably going to be not the best choice, but copper's going to be stronger. It's going to be a bit hard to sort of make it ish, but again, same process. Right, we're going to sort of make our shape, right, and then I'm going to twist it this end. Right, and then actually this one's going to be easier to make because we can actually just come in with the cutters, cut it right there, right onto it, get it off, and hopefully this will be a decent size for what we want it to be. We may have to cut this a little bit more. Yeah, see, that looks like a nice size just at the top there, but I think it needs to be just cut. So it's almost a half circle-ish. So I'm just going to cut this. You on camera? No, you're not. There we go. So that's again, let's just cut this. So as I say, it's almost a half circle going on. And then we'll just test fit. Always test fit, you know. No point coming in with the super glue straight away. And that looks like that's fitting quite nicely. So again, let's get out the super glue. Let's just dip into that. And then let's just, ooh, sorry, I've just moved that. And just slightly knocked the shape. So I'm sadly just trying to reshape this slightly. Okay, let's try that again. Let's just test fit it. Okay. Try dipping that in the super glue again. And then let's just try and place it in there. And hopefully, there we go. Seems to be fitting quite good. Again, my super glue applicator has got dried up super glue on there, so I'm just going to very quickly get out a lighter, and we're just going to break the lighter. I'm going to just quickly burn off the excess super glue, just very quickly, because basically, I mean, it's just, you know, you've got two little prongs. I don't know if you could see it, there's like almost like a little fork, very hard to see, two little prongs on the end, and it holds the super glue. But as the super glue dries, it builds up on the end, and then you end up with just a blob on the end, and then it's not doing its job. Just need to let that cool a little bit because we have heated up. So I'm just going to quickly check anything. No more comments, but you know, feel free to get your comments in any questions you've got about anything. Doesn't even have to be a subject we're doing tonight. And then I'm just going to touch this just to give it a little bit more super glue strength, because there is like a capillary action to the super glue, enough for it to kind of like suck in underneath our bit of copper there. And as you can see, we've got a nice bit more scratch building done. Now, as I say, off camera, I'm going to be doing all the rest of the seat belts and stuff. And I'm going to be doing the other cushion at the bottom. And then when you get spray on there, it does actually look quite good. And, you know, it's just a nice, cheaper way of, you know, doing your own sort of thing rather than buying photo etch all the time. And I know some people get a great satisfaction of doing all this sort of scratch building. Right, so now I'm going to come to the cockpit. Now the cockpit, you might sort of see we've not really got many dials along the sort of the cockpit area. I'd like to maybe sort of jazz that up with maybe a couple more dials. This is maybe a bit more advanced, and I suppose in a way when I say advanced, it's kind of like an expensive tool. This is RP Tools, and as you can see, the website's just down there. It's kind of an expensive tool, coming in at around about the £50 mark. But you can do all sorts of really cool stuff with this. They do other sets as well, different sizes. They do hexagonal, they do rivets, well, yeah, you name it. They've got all the kind of things you want to be cutting out. And basically with this set, you get this kind of hole punch thing going on here. You get a little hammer to do the hole punches. And then you get these sort of, they're almost like nails that you nail in. I'll show you how it works now, but what you want to do, you want to get some plastic card, which I have just got some. This is like a 0.3mm thick, right? Because these are supposed to be buttons, supposed to be very small. 0.3mm, maybe still too thick, but I can just sort of quickly show you how this works. All right, so basically what you do is push this in here, right? You pick out which sort of nail size you want. So let's go for the smallest they do, 0.5. You find the hole that's on here, then you sort of tighten these down so it's all sort of nice and sort of tight, and then you hold and just tap it down, right, until it goes through the plastic card, and then you can sort of maybe sort of slightly move the plastic card, and we can just hammer out some more. Boom, there you go. Move that again, tap it until it goes through. Let's just do another one. There we go. Okay, and then we can sort of untighten this, move this away, and then we should end up with, on the other side, and just stuck inside there instead. So I'm just going to try and just tap these out. There we go, tap two out at least. And this is very, very small, and I know this is live, so you don't exactly get the best of quality, not like if I was editing my videos, but I'm just getting, oh man, do you know what, I'm going to try my pickup tool, wherever that's got, because picking this up is rather tricky. Where's my pickup tool? There you are. Okay, let's just try and pick this up. Okay, these pickup tools, I think normally they lose their tackiness, but if you just wet them a little bit, they sort of get it back. There we go. Again, you probably can't see that. You can sort of see that white little dot on there, and that's our little button. So if we bring in our sort of cockpit just here, and then maybe what you want to do then is just position the button where you want it to be. So I'm happy with it being there, and then with a little bit of Tamiya extra thin cement, now just a bit, so you don't want to come straight out the pot and have like a blob of it. You want to sort of scrape it across off the side, so you know you've got a bit but not loads, because you put too much and yeah, it can just make a bit of a mess, and you might knock it, so you might have to just very quickly maneuver it. But you can now just see we've got a little button in there like so, and we can repeat that process if you want to, and then we can get out some other sizes as well. Are you still on camera? Yeah, there we go. Again, place it down with the pickup tool. No, it just flicked off, so that's probably lost forever. Let's see if I can just tap out another one. There we go, tapped out another one. So again, let's just pick that up. This is, you know, a very time-consuming process, so it's not everybody's cup of tea, but as I say, you know, people do get good satisfaction out of doing this. Again, a little bit of little bit of Tamiya extra thin cement on the end. Maybe have to do a quick sort of reorientation. Right, and there we go. We've got some more buttons, and if you can just sort of imagine doing a load more of them. You can also go off. I think there's some, I'm sure I've got some thinner, yeah, there you go. I've got some sort of thinner plastic card here, and you can do the same thing. I'm just wondering actually, what size is this? I had my 3mm out, but I can't remember what this was. Got a digital caliper just here. Little tip on the digital caliper, actually, it's a tool I don't normally use all the time, right? But I have found over the years, every single time I come to use my digital caliper, the battery's gone, right? So I always take it out and only put it in when I'm using it. So there we go, digital caliper is nicely powered up. Right, always sort of push it to the end as far as you can, press the 0 button. I mean, it's already 0, but there we go, that's nicely zeroed. And we can just actually see how thin is this one. Okay, this one is 0.2mm basically, so it's about a 0.1mm less than the other one. But it all does look really kind of funky when everything's so small and so precise. And we can do the same just here. Maybe we could get out a different size. That's like 8 now, 7. And we've got a 6 in here somewhere. 6 would be nice, I guess. I can just get it out, pour it all out in the box. As you can see, you get loads of different sizes. No, it's a 0.9. So 1. So where's my 0.6? There it is, 0.6. Right, so again, push our bit of plastic card in here. Let's get out and put it in the hole. That's the 0.6 with a 0.6 nail. Right, and then we can just tap one of them through. And as you've probably already seen, you know, it is a good idea to just do more than you probably need, because you know you lose them, they flick off. Okay. Pops out a few there. Let's just tap it on the table. Bring you out a little bit on the camera. Tap out on the table. So then we should get some of them come out. Put that away, out the way. There we go, let's get my pickup tool. And that's half of one, it's not a full one. I've lost them already. I think I've lost them already. Actually, I'll just quickly punch another one. Okay, where's my... Oh, we'll just do a 0.5 because I don't want to waste any more time. See if we've got one of them. Tap it down. It's trying to come out, it can be a bit... Come on. See, everything about doing all this tiny stuff is always very delicate and time consuming. Let's just get one of them. This one's just a little bit thinner. Just kind of adds a different sort of size to it. And again, just a little bit of Tamiya thin cement. You don't need a lot. Maybe a quick last little orientation. Right, and there we go. Oh, you're quite zoomed out. And there we go. Bit more of that. So that's a nice bit of scratch building. So let's just have a quick tidy, get your questions in. And I think we might have time for a little bit of spraying. Let's move this aside. Put those buckles over there for later. Crikey, I've really gone in a mess tonight. We've got a question about the Hasegawa FA18E. Yeah, I've just put up an episode yesterday of that. That's still coming along. That's on the Genessis Models website. As for the Victory, I know a lot of people keep asking about the Victory, and you may have already heard me say it, but it's one of these builds that's so big, so colossal, that it's just so time consuming to actually build. It's still in the build sort of list. It's not something I've just stopped building and give up on. It's just I've got lots and lots of planking to do on it, and basically because I've got so much planking to do on it, I could literally spend a whole week just planking but have like no video footage for it, because I've already like covered a lot of planking in the videos so far, right? But yeah, I'd have to spend like a week just getting the planking done so we can move on to the next subject. So sorry, that's kind of like on the back burner. I just need to find some time just to, as I say, spend a week planking on that. What we're going to do, we're going to get out some black next. All right, got my airbrush here. I'm going to put a bit of thinners in there, maybe like 30% thinners to paint, nice and quick. PSI is maybe about 18 PSI. We'll add a bit of our black paint to this. Oh, by the way, I have already primed all our bits here in like a nice light grey. Right, so we're already sort of primed. Using a nice sort of old brush, we're just gonna mix that little mixture together. Right, and then what I'm going to do is we have some of our sidewalls here for our cockpit. Now, what I'd normally do is I'd normally just kind of spray the colour, but for this one, what I want to do is add a bit of pre-shading to it. I want to sort of kind of show sort of like a fake artificial light, so to speak, to sort of represent it being darker the further down, deeper into the cockpit. So I'm just sort of getting my airbrush. What I want to do, with pre-shading, pressing down for air, slowly pulling back the trigger, and it's that point where paint just comes out. As you can see there, that's what I call a biting point, just like a clutch on a car. We get our biting point and we want to just hold that biting point and move it along so we can make lines. So I'm just going to now get my biting point, and I'm just going to sort of make the bottom darker. Nice, simple, easy. No need to get fancy with that at all. Right, so the bottom is basically darker than the top, and it's our first bit of pre-shading. Again, we've got our other side, you know, get the biting point, just spray the bottom, maybe come slightly up the sides of the edges as well. There we go. We could do the same again with our cockpit area. Now with our cockpit area, we haven't got to worry about these sort of instruments here and all the dials and stuff. They're going to have to be painted black anyway, so don't worry about overspraying onto them. And I'm just going to come as far as that and just spray the bottom, sort of a nice sort of black. Alright, maybe cut to air, let that dry a bit. There we go, nice bit of simple pre-shading. I suppose with this one we could, because we've got the ejector seat at the back, maybe just make a bit of pre-shading line just up there. Right, don't worry about making mistakes or your lines not being straight, you know, sort of, you know, not having a straight line and being all squiggly and a bit random just adds to the flavour of weathering. But there you go, nice bit of pre-shading ready for a bit of spraying. So I'm just going to spray this into my pot just here, just to clean it up. So get your last questions in, because we are coming to the end for tonight. So if you want to ask anything, get it in now while you can. I've just sprayed the excess in there, it just stops the fumes from getting up there. Good old home-brewed airbrush cleaner. There is a tutorial on how to make this yourself on the Genessis Models website. That's www.genesismodels.co.uk. It's in the tutorial section. Right. If you don't want to make your own homebrew airbrush cleaner, I always recommend Vallejo's. That's a really nice airbrush cleaner, Vallejo is. Right. So as you just saw, I haven't sprayed it through the nozzle end yet, but I have just sort of poured it in the colour cup. I've then put my kitchen paper towel on over the nozzle, press down for air, pull back, it gurgles it up, which basically self-cleans it by doing that. Don't put it all the way back so it just goes mad and splutters up and blinds you or something. Right, just gurgle it up nice and lightly, and then clean it from the colour cup end. So any bits are going to come out the colour cup end and not try and come out through the nozzle end. And then we basically just spray through until we're all nice and clean. As you can see, there's no black paint coming out of there. We're all nice and clean. I do like to just come along with normal thinners, right, and just maybe sort of, you know, just clean out the airbrush, because in this homebrewed airbrush cleaner, there is ammonia in there, and ammonia sort of breaks down paint quite well, so much so you don't really want it sitting in your colour cup. So by adding normal thinners, it just cleans out the airbrush cleaner at the same time, so your airbrush is all good for next time. Unless, as I say, I mean, actually, I know I'm going to be coming in here tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some spraying. That's fine for me to now leave this to spray again tomorrow. But if you know you're not going to be touching your airbrush for maybe a couple of weeks, probably a good strip down and clean would be better, because the paint will sort of, any sort of paint in there sort of dries, cures, goes rock hard and messes up your airbrush. So last little quick look at the questions. Okay, I've got a question. I'm not quite 100% sure if I'm answering this right, but your Antonio's is asking which is better, an enamel-based clear coat and a water-based wash, or the opposite. I think what you're basically saying is we're going to be weathering this cockpit, and what I normally tend to do is I will spray a water-based gloss on this to seal it in, and then I'll come along with an enamel-based a wash to sort of wash it, to be able to do the wash. Now, the whole point of that is water-based and enamel-based is like oil to water. And because it's like oil to water, what it means is that when we come in with, say, an enamel-based wash and kind of do all our weathering, the enamel isn't going to sort of react with the water-based paints, so we don't have any sort of smudging or rehydrating of paint, and that's the whole point. That's what makes it, you know, a good combination. If I was to come along, use enamel-based paints and then use an enamel-based wash, the enamel-based wash would just eat into that enamel paint and smudge it all and mess up all your paintwork. To be totally honest with you, I've never gone off and used enamel-based paints and then used water-based washes. I would probably say it's still best to do it the way I do it, because with enamel-based washes, they tend to sort of flow nicer, and the whole reason why we like using enamel-based washes is enamels, or even oils actually, they don't dry as quick, right? So if we used an enamel-based wash, it's not going to take us long to dry and cure and go rock hard. So we can come in and play with the wash. We can blend it, feather it in, smudge it in, and we've got plenty of time to play with it. Whereas if we used a water-based wash, it's going to dry quicker, it's going to cure quicker, and then if we want to sort of feather it in or blend it in or something like that, we've got less time to play with it. That answer will probably be more sort of cleared up next week, because next week we're just going to finish off the spraying and then we're going to get in and do some washes. So you're going to be able to see the enamel, how it doesn't react with our water-based paints that we've been using today, and you're going to see how we're going to have time to do cleanups and blend and feather in, and we're going to be able to just play with it a lot more than we would if it was the other way around. So hopefully that sort of answers your question. I know it was maybe sounded a bit complicated, but hopefully you got it. But we will cover it next week if you didn't. So yeah, hopefully you'll stay tuned next week for that. Sadly, we have come to the end for tonight. I have quite liked tonight. It's been quite nice to sort of get in close and do scratch building. Scratch building is, you know, it is a bit of a hard subject, so to speak. I know people who do tackle it, they love doing it, they get great satisfaction out of it. I know a lot of people do kind of look at it and go, no way, that just looks too fiddly, too hard. But it doesn't have to be, you know. You just sort of as you've seen me doing it tonight, you've got to take your time. You know, trying to thread those seat belts into those buckles, you know, it just takes time to slowly thread it through. Yes, you know, the buttons we did, one of them flicked off. You know, it's just taking your time and being careful. But the end results really do look fantastic when it's all done. And if you really go to 10 and really do lots and lots and lots, it just looks like some really amazing work. So, you know, scratch building is a good one to sort of cover. But let's say next week we're going to be messing about with washes and stuff, getting this cockpit all painted up and hopefully looking rather good. So hopefully you're liking the look of the A4. Sadly we've come to the end. Just to sort of let you know, there is all sorts going on Genessis Models website. I should pretty much go and check out. You know, as I've already mentioned, people asked, yeah, the FA18, that video build's coming along. I released one yesterday, inbox reviews, all that kind of goody stuff. We've got what have we got? We've got group builds going on as well, which is 1/72nd scale group build. There's about 3 or 2 months left of that. We're about halfway through. So if you don't know about it, go check out the forum, and in the forum there's a group build section, and all you got to do is build something, anything you want. That's 1/72nd scale. Post some pictures of it being built, and then once you've built it, post some pictures of the finishing product. And it's around about, I think it's the end of June, I will go off and basically look at all the final reveals, and I'll judge which one's the best, and the best one gets like a Top Gun trophy and second place, third place, and all that good stuff. So there's some trophies to be won there, as well as just, you know, hanging out with everyone on the forum, which nice bunch of guys there. Just a quick last look. If there's any last questions. No, I think that's it for tonight. So yeah, big thanks for you guys for coming to watch. I'll catch you again same time next week on a Friday, 6 o'clock, Genessis Models live session. So until next time, my name is Bob Warden. This is Genessis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed.